Hey guys, welcome back to Enlightened. It's Kev here. So today we're going to be taking a look at some of these maps of Grand and Greater Tartary, or the Tartarian Empire. It's took me a little bit longer than I planned on getting this video out, so thanks for bearing with me everyone. And yeah, let's get straight into this. So here we go. California in yellow, which we'll probably come on to in a minute. Off the maps that I have seen, Tartaria always seems to be shaded in yellow. Amsterdam, Nova Grande. There's no mention there of Tartary or Tartaria. Notice there's quite a few little islands being mapped out there. Nice to visit one of them one day, get past lockdown. So yeah, let's move along anyway. Let's have a little look at some of these maps. Don't want to dwell on irrelevant maps too long. So, I mean, there's some interesting maps here. I mean, obviously that's for the ball Earth. Eclipses, a celestial atlas for heliocentrism. If people still buy into that. So let's keep moving. This is obviously a map of South America. I'll be honest, I was expecting to see more yellow. This northern China, is it? So yeah, so this is Far Eastern Europe. This is an area where a number of people have done research and they believe was the jump off point for the Tatarians to then go across the Bering Straits into North America. Obviously with theory, if you will, and that's some kind of historical accounts of people going the other way, you know, whether it be Phoenicians, Vikings and all this kind of stuff. Apparently back in the day, this is according to like the Greek philosophers and stuff at the time, that the Phoenicians actually were aware of a land beyond the Atlantis Ocean, and they kept it to themselves. They controlled the Pillars of Hercules, so they controlled who came in and out of the Mediterranean. Apparently they were all too well aware of North America, but never actually revealed that to any of the Mediterranean powers. But it's interesting when you see, like I say, this northeastern area on the map. There was a video I watched recently on YouTube about cultures within cultures in Russia. There was areas of populations within Russia where they're becoming more governed by the Russian government, but they were basically independent states within Russia. They were just within the borders of Russia. They were like almost like colonies within Russia, if you will. And this area on the northeast region, it's actually got a population or a landmass, I believe to be would be the 5th largest nation in the world. Like, that's how big the area is here of these peoples and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting video, to be honest. If I think on, I'll put a link in the description box because it was quite fascinating. But yeah, as we can just see, this is all Tartaria. You know, we've got a couple of Tartarians here with a camel, which is interesting because I do believe camels were from like Saudi Arabia. There we go, there's Persia. So it's interesting to look at the style of clothing, the Tartar style. You know, all these capes and things like that. This is obviously the Western Front, if you will. That Paris is supposed to be there. Bulgaria. Nice. the mountain ranges and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, let's keep moving through. So there's another map of Tartaria, as you can see there, Tartaria. So most of these maps aren't written in English, which is unfortunate really. Armenia, that's Tartary Imago, and Samagedi Imago. Need to be having a conversation there. Is that a bow in the Tartarian's hand there? Interesting. What's interesting actually is position so close to Armenia, because obviously we know about the genocides and the ethnic cleansing that took place in Armenia. Not to mention in Russia itself. If anybody is up for it, go and check out my video on the Great Reset presentation. It's not the whole Great Reset, it's just I went down the eradication of certain histories in that video, and it's quite interesting to be honest, but it talks about the mass genocide and ethnic cleansing that took place in Russia. I personally believe it was the remnants of the Tatarian Empire, and who knows, maybe, you know, right across, going back from, like, say, the British Civil War and the American Revolution, American Civil War, the French Revolution, Civil Wars, Napoleonic conquests and all this kind of stuff, into the Boer Wars, going down into the Africas and stuff like that, you know. I wonder if these things, into the World Wars, I wonder if these things was just the power play. The people who we see in charge now are basically removing the old power structures and the old systems, if you will. But here we go, Scythia again on the map, and this is the Arctic Circle, I'm guessing. Here's America, and like you say, they did apparently cross via the Bering Straits, where obviously people believe Clovis first took place. Now these tents are interesting to me because if you listen to people like I say, Herodotus and historians like that, Anibus, Lacus, what a name, that sounds very Latin. You see, you always see tents, and you hear of these people as like nomadic, you know, they move around. I believe it was like the Persians was unable to conquer the Scythians, as the Scythians had no place to conquer. They had no major cities, if you will, which is fascinating really. I mean, that was going back a good few thousand years, but if you look on these maps, like, you can't see cities. Like, what are these? These are obviously towns and cities. There's Crimea, and obviously, as we know, Russia very recently annexed Crimea, part of Ukraine. A lot of people believe that was for the port, because Russia actually only has one port for its navy, which is in the North Baltic Sea, where access to the oceans via Crimea was apparently a strategically important location. However, I believe it was probably more to do with, you know, more eradication and more destruction of properties, maybe. I'm not too sure. Maybe it was just a land grab. But some of the names are really fascinating when you look through these maps, and some of the imagery that you find on here. You know, it's like goat heads. It's not meant to be like Baphomet or whatever. Use this like a lion man. So very intricate, very fascinating stuff. Yeah, it's interesting to see China on the map here is not part of the Tatarian Empire. But let's keep moving. And see, this is that area I was mentioning before in northeastern Russia, where it's a very large population of people, and they do believe they are Tartars. just like when you come down to this area around the Caspian Sea area, there's still a place there called Little Tartary, Tartaria, you know. So let's have a look on this map. As I say, the yellow lines always seem to depict the Tatarian borders. It's a shame there's no like colour key on the sides of the maps to let you know just who is who. More foreign writing. Excuse me. This is Tartaria Independenti. It's the independent Tartaria. Again, the Caspian Sea area. It's fascinating. I mean, I don't want to. There's not really too much you can look at with these maps. I mean, I think the best thing you could probably do is look for the largest city areas on the maps and maybe cross-reference it and overlay on modern day maps. As you can see, there's this website here, davidrumsey.com, is absolutely littered with ancient maps. We got this one here, more Tataria. So what year is this? This is 1783. So this is a bit later than some of the other maps, and as you can see, you know, the steppe area of Tataria is not coloured in yellow anymore. Territorio di Azov, whatever that means. Anyone knows what that means, let me know. It's just fascinating. So when I look at these maps, I'm always looking for Moscow, because that gives me a good bearing. I know, you know, you go south, you've got Turkey, the Levant, and all that goes west into Europe, east into Siberia / Asia, something like the steppe area. So I am always looking for Moscow, but I tell you what, I don't think I can see Moscow on here. This is interesting. Is that Kiev? Well, there's my name there, Kev. So yeah, we just let's just keep moving. What's that say? Tartaria, Noga Jesse. So I wonder if this is the different. This is obviously post Genghis Khan, so this is the fraction of the Khanate, or whatever it's called, where you had different kings taking over different parts of the Great Khan's empire. So is there any more cool maps on David's website? So here's a map from 1756, and the fascinating thing about this map is it's showing you the lines of navigation between Greenland and Northern Europe. Now, as we know, Greenland is not very well populated and is owned by Denmark. The USA actually tried to buy Greenland from Denmark because it's probably the biggest untapped reservoir of natural resources. Excuse me. Obviously, everyone knows China has got a lot of natural resources within its land. But obviously that's why China was trying to buy Greenland to compete. But it's fascinating that there's so many locations, there's so many places on Greenland here. Far Point, Red Beach, make any of these out. The Smiths, is that? Dave Barcon. Hard to pronounce some of these names, like Deer Bay, Horn Sound, excuse me, Bell Point, Black Point, and obviously some of these lines of navigation are bringing you. Well, there's a central point here, which is obviously seems Northern Europe. We've got Iceland over here, which is again it's interesting, you know, because if you actually follow some of the work I've been doing in recent videos, and I've still got so much more to come, by the way, guys, it's just getting the time to sit down and do it all, is the migration patterns of the lost tribes of Israel. Now, obviously here we are, Norse, Norway, we've got Daneland, Denmark, and all that should be around there, that region. Just here, I believe. Is Denmark? Yes, it is. Denmark. And we've got like the river the Danube River, excuse me, further east, after the lost tribes migrated through Armenia, Bulgaria, over into Northern Europe, etc., etc. Also probably migrating eastwards further into the Levant, the steppes, into Siberia, and obviously Christianity is massive along the steppes and along all the way through to northern China, which unfortunately, if you watch that reset video again, you're seeing a massive cleansing of ethnic diversity and spirituality in China, which is disgusting. But yes, back to the point, we all see, if you notice that them tribes that did migrate into areas of Norway and Iceland and things like that, they still don't know where the Norse people originated from, because if you listen to the Norse mythology, there was a land of like, they came from like a primordial place, the gods of like fire, ice and smoke. So that's why they believe it was Iceland, because you've got the violence and the volatility of the volcanic action, and they see the glows, the fire, the flames, you're seeing the smoke and the mist and all this kind of stuff. And then they've also got the ice, and it is a land, an island. So people believe Iceland was the original place for Norse mythology. However, when it comes to the human side of Norse mythology, where it comes to the creation of the life forms, I believe there was 3 gods at the time, and they create the humans. And what's interesting is in Norse mythology, they're known as the children of Ash. Now, if you go and Google the lost 10 tribes, which, give me a sec. So here we go, this is the lost tribes. If you take a look over here, honestly, I don't know if it's my mouse that's breaking or my PC's going really slow for an update. As you can see, there's Dan, as I mentioned before, and as I said, you've got Daneland, Denmark, the River Danube and all this kind of stuff, all these little indicators. But it's this one, the children of Asher. In Norse mythology, there is a tribe of the lost 10 known as the tribe of Asher. So is it too much of a leap of faith to assume that the children of Asher are the Norse mythology children of Ash? So yeah, like I say, the children of Ash, maybe, maybe not. I mean, no one knows these things for certain. It's very fascinating the way you get a number of indicators. But anyway, let's move on. Yeah. Just before we do, however, let's have a little zoom in on England from this 1756 map. Let's see well, that's where I come from, Liverpool. If anyone knows the psychologist Carl Jung, I advise anyone to pick up one of his books, to be honest. He was quite an intelligent and very intellectual individual, but he was also quite fringe really for mainstream thinking, you know. And he actually, there's a statue of him in Liverpool on a street called Matthew Street, which is famous for the Beatles. And there's a bust, and on the bust it says Liverpool is the pool of life. So thanks Carl for that. Yeah, I just wanted to have a quick look see. Scarborough, I used to go on holiday there. Whitby, that's like that. I remember we were driving through there as children in the car with the parents, and I think all those kids got sick driving through Whitby. Yeah, fascinating map. Obviously there's a lot of detail left out of this map. Seems to be a more, with it being a naval navigation map, it's all coastal markings. And as you can see, the coasts were well populated in the 1600s. So here's a website, National Archives. Just been having a little scroll through, and there's some interesting works in here. Let's go to this section here. Let's just read this. I could have started somewhere else, couldn't I? Look at that for a word. The emoluments of office. Emoluments of office. I really need to start learning to read. The emoluments of office are the ruin of this country. We have a new Speaker Addington, a new Secretary in place of Sydney, proofs of a change which must come, a new Parliament, not of long continuance. So, sorry, this is me dog here, he's nosy, he's asking what I'm doing. But sorry, yeah, that's which must come, and a new Parliament, not of long continuance. So they want a new Parliament, but a rapid Parliament, one not of sustainability, one of radical reform. I'm guessing I have sent you a few tracts and papers. Our college prospers and is full. So they're saying there, look, we've got some people here for you that we can move into office and get the job done. The dissenters have been cajoled as usual. So they've identified them, feuds and animosities amongst the family, right, whatever that means. And then here we go, the Lama of Tartary has taken up his residence in England. We have all the expense of monarchy without the splendour. So that's obviously very powerful people who view themselves online with the monarchies. The minister has been most fortunate in availing himself of the mistakes of his opponents, who maintained Tory principles about the regency, and Pitt, a Tory, took up Whig principles to serve his purpose and has succeeded. So he took up the mantle of the office and the job, and he's got it done. Such is the glorious fixed principle of politicians of my amiable friends, Miss Adams. So I was just very fascinated by the Lamb of the Tartary there. So someone landed in Britain from America by the looks of it, judging by the words that were used here. So here we go, here's another document, 1783, June the 19th, Fete Dieu, the diary of John Adams. Let's keep going. So I had a little quick scroll through. There's a few mentions of Tartary, lakes, rivers, different parts of America and things like that. But if you come down to this paragraph here, let's have a quick read through this paragraph. So we've got the separation of America from Asia is between the 60th and 70th degree of north latitude, precisely at the Arctic polar circle. That's a weird way of spelling Arctic. If you can see that there, A-R-C-T-I-C-K, madness. Polar circle. It is called the French maps Detroit du Nord, which I believe we were looking at that map before. The Northern Strait, or Strait of the North. That's random again. It is north. It is near the archipel du Nord and northern archipelago. The point of land in Asia is under the domain of Russia and is called Russian Tartary. The strait forms the communication between the eastern and frozen oceans, the Mare Oriental and the Mare Glacial. There is a number of islands in the archipelago, and one is the strait itself, called on the map Alaska Island. Alaska Island. I wonder if that's supposed to be Alaska. There is a sea and a prominently called Kamskatka, situated in the Eastern Ocean within 10 to 12 degrees of the strait. The three Tartaries, independent Tartary, Chinese Tartary and Russian Tartary, form a vast country extending from Persia, Indostan and China to the point of Asia and the Straits of the North, which divide Asia from America. We should hinder the Empress of Russia from establishing a trading city on the Sea of Kamskatka, whatever that is. Let's just Google that real quick. So here we go, this is that area on the very eastern part of Europe and mainland Europe, and the very eastern point of the Tartarian Empire. And as I say, this area is massive. I'm going to put a link in the video in the description box below, because you just have to see it really. I can't really explain it. There's too many names, places and words for me to accurately relay it, but if you watch it, you get what I'm saying. So yeah, seems as though we've let's go back to that. What was it? John Adams is writing about the fact that he should not allow a city to be built on that eastern front. Obviously would be dangerous to the Americas or whatever, and opening a commerce with Peking. Now Peking, I've got a video about to drop about Peking. Peking is the former name for Beijing, which was the old city of Beijing. Now there's obviously a lot of talk about phantom cities, you know, cities that people just walked into after like a mud flood or some kind of cataclysm. Some people believe that the rapture happened and these people ascended and the cities were just left in situ. So that's Peking. Nanking and Canton, obviously Cantonese, Nanking, I'm not too sure what that is. The cities of China, it is so near the islands of Japan, the Philippines, Moluccas, that a great scheme may one day be opened here. Lima, the capital of Peru, is 10 degrees latitude. Of Fonte must be sailed by blah 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 blah. So that's that.
This is Yakutia, or Sakha. As you can see, it's pretty big. In fact, it's the largest political entity in the entire world that is not a sovereign nation. They hold on to traditions such as their colorful costumes, food and summer festivals, mostly due to Yakutia being so big. But despite its size, it's not the most populated republic. That title goes to Bashkortostan, with a population size of around 4 million. It's still a place with insane geography and nature. Examples of this include the 2,700 lakes and reservoirs, as well as the 13,000 rivers. In terms of ethnicity of the population, 30% are Bashkirs, 36% are Russians, and 25% are Tatars.
So here we go, this is an excerpt from one of the videos I actually did produce. This is on the Great Reset, and this is the part I was talking about Russia. It's unbelievable really. And here we go, this is a Russian Orthodox bishop, I believe he was. And he talks now about the persecution of Christians once communism had took hold in Russia.
Властей здесь были устроены, а также здесь находилась также и женская тюрьма.
So he's obviously talking about the country had been turned into a concentration camp. Churches, places of worship were on lockdown basically, and this is where the people were funneled into.
И, конечно же, это время было, наверное, особое в истории нашей Новоспасской обители, поскольку Здесь люди терпели, можно сказать, заключение, терпели мучения, а некоторые здесь были расстреляны.
Excuse me. So I'll just leave it there, but that's just letting you know that's in the video. I have covered that, but like I say, there was a massive cleansing in the area of Moscow, and right across Russia for all we know. Because don't forget, at the time of this taking place, it was the Soviet Union. So as somebody was over in the West, there was something called the Iron Curtain, and we did not know what was going on behind the Iron Curtain. And I'm guessing on the eastern side of Europe and the world, they had a similar news system, a similar class system, and a similar operation of not letting you know what was taking place on the other side of the world. We still see this today in communist China. You know, they won't allow YouTube and things like that for their peoples. But it's like the censorship was real and the cleansing was real. Now, I am honestly starting to think that this cleansing has been taking place for a couple of 100 years now, and people are mentioning, like I said before, about the raptures and things like that, and maybe the book of Revelation has came to pass and we're living in a new age, if you will, a new dawn. I don't see that. I don't want to believe that. You know, I'd like to believe that we're still in this fight and the fight's still taking place, but it's shocking really to think that like there's been so much death, destruction that's taken place over the last couple of 100 years, and then when you apply Tartary over that, the destruction of religion, spirituality, community, you know, national identity really, everything's getting more and more atheist, globalist, and you know, yeah, left wing, hard liberal, pushing it, communism. But yeah, to be honest, I'm probably going to leave it there, guys. I hope this video was okay. Like I say, there's so many maps out there. I thought I'd break it down and have a look at a few of the maps, but to be honest, there's a number of people out there who've done far greater map videos than I could probably do. So I didn't want to really like spend hours and hours and hours breaking down maps because I don't really fully understand them. But it's just fascinating that you've got all the areas coloured in yellow for Tatarian, and then if you look on modern maps now, it's just gone. It's just totally gone. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Please stay tuned. There's a video I've just dropped there on explosions that the US military carried out during 1962, nuclear test explosions. Now what they were doing on these explosions, they were trying to puncture into the firmament, and once they realised that they weren't able to do that, they started listening to sounds, that the sounds reverberating off the firmament and looking for light refracting along the firmament and things like this. So it's a pretty good video, but stay tuned for the next video that's going to be coming out after this one. It's an old video of the ancient city of Peking, which is modern day Beijing, and wait till you see the architecture and stuff like that in that video. You're gonna love it. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys, thanks for stopping by. Stay safe. Peace.